Welcome to Inside Marketing with Market Surge, your front row seat to the boldest ideas and smartest strategies in the marketing game. Your host is Reed Hansen, Chief Growth Officer at Market Surge.
Today on Inside Marketing with Market Surge, we're sitting down with someone who's lived marketing from every angle: brands, artists, politics, and even nightlife. Connor Treacy is a marketer who doesn't just talk theory, he builds movements. He co-founded Off Sunset, one of Los Angeles' most exclusive nightclubs, pulling in over $4 million a year through scarcity marketing, celebrity partnerships, and content strategy that transformed events into cultural moments. At Universal Music Group, Connor contributed to Grammy-winning projects like Future Nostalgia and helped break artists into the market by scaling grassroots digital campaigns into mainstream stardom. And beyond entertainment, he's brought that same marketing savvy into politics, using digital outreach to drive real voter turnout and community engagement. What I love about Connor is that he shares not just the wins, but the failures and what they taught him. His POV is simple but powerful. Great marketing isn't about chasing hype, it's about aligning brand, timing, and audience to create results that last. Connor, I'm so glad to have you. Welcome to the show. Connor, you've worked in some really interesting industries. You've worked in nightlife, music, and politics. So these are, for many, they'd seem totally different. What do you think connects this all as like a common thread as an entrepreneur and marketer?
Yeah, so I guess it comes down to maybe like me and like what my skill sets are. So, at the end of the day, I would say I'm a really good connector and a
Mm.
really good promoter. So, whether I'm promoting or marketing an event, or I'm marketing or connecting a product or an artist or a song or a political event, it's all kind of intertwined in that sense where I kind of just understand like what it is I'm involved in, and then what I kind of need to do on my end to like put the pieces together to amplify it or take it to the next level, So yeah, I know it sounds sometimes random for people, but everything I kind of do like intertwines in a weird way.
Actually, I really like that. And I think you've kind of reduced entrepreneurship and marketing to its essence. It is about connecting people, or and being a skilled communicator, boiling tricky things or new ideas to a larger audience. That's super cool. And now, in particular, I know very little about the nightclub space. Now, you had a very successful nightclub. You're still a young guy, so that's really awesome. What is tell us what running a nightclub is like, and how do you build momentum? Uh, with using exclusivity and promoting a brand and getting high level celebrities to come. How is that done?
Well, yeah, so I guess for one, I do live in Los Angeles, and
Hmm.
the space was in West Hollywood, so it was like it's like the mecca kind of like celebrity culture and entertainment and stuff, right? So obviously if I opened up a spot in like middle America or something, I probably wouldn't be as good, right? So I'm just kind of in the right place at the right time. But you know, it's like a combination of things. I also have been doing events really since I was a teenager. So and I think I opened off Sunset when I was like 28. So I'd been doing it for a long time, like 10 years pretty much. And you know, it was like something that I always wanted to do. But I think for people that want to do the nightlife and hospitality stuff, the one thing that I really try to let people know is like you have to be there like every
Hmm.
night that it's open pretty much. Otherwise, it's not going to hit the same. And people go like, I'm not going to like, not from a conceited standpoint that people go just because I go, but like it's like people want to go and like feel like they're getting taken care of and they see you. It just helps, So I feel like if you are going to open up like a hospitality venue, you need to be very hands-on and you need to be there a lot, especially when it comes to like the higher end clientele or the celebrities or anything in that realm.
So you probably have to really enjoy the nightlife yourself, like and be on that schedule and enjoy the energy, just every and do it every day. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like the first thing that I ever kind of did in life where I was like, this is like what I meant to do. Like I just loved it. Like it was never really like something where I was like with a calculator in my room, like figuring out how much money I could make from it or something. I just like really loved like the idea of like get like going on Google and like getting an artist and renting out a venue and then seeing the numbers on the Facebook event page like explode and then people go and do like a video. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like the whole process of the whole
Hmm.
thing was like what I really um like I guess fell in love with or whatever. I don't know if that sounds corny, but
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
yeah, that's kind of like yeah, so I really like the nightlife. And I've been doing it for a long time, so it's not like, every weekend when I was doing off, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to go to," you know what I mean? But like for the most
Yeah,
part, yeah, I loved it and it's like, one of the favorite things that I do. So, yeah, I feel like you have to like it, right? Otherwise, if you hate it, why
yeah,
would you go every weekend?
right.
It's crazy.
So the scarcity marketing is something that is useful and in my audience I have businesses of all kinds, and so in the nightclub space I would I picture a key like branding element is the line that goes out the door and the doorman that is restricting entry or slowing entry and people and the just the visual of like people are lining up to get in. How do you like keep people lining up? How do you get them to wait for your services? And like when you're starting from scratch, how do you get people uh, to help you with that visual of the line out the door?
Well, we at Off Sunset, we kind of did like anti-marketing where like
Ah,
we had like no sign out front. It like wasn't on Google Maps for a few months or a while. Um, we didn't have like a big opening night. Like we kind of I don't know if we like lied, but like we kind of like we're just telling people, "Oh, come by, like we're gonna do some showings to like close personal friends, like tell us what you think." But like we were fully open, but like we were just showing like select people and then like word would get out and people would start talking and stuff like that and they'd be like, "Oh, like what is this?" or you know what I mean? And so
yeah,
there was that, and then we were, like, putting stickers on people's phones so they couldn't take photos of, like, whoever was inside, so it was, like, a whole thing where people and then I would say it was, like, more, like, after 3 or 4 months, then it, like, popped, but we had built up the momentum, but we didn't try to, like, make a huge splash immediately, so that was
yeah.
more how that worked.
Yeah, well, so that's interesting. I like that anti-marketing term, and then also you just being kind of playful with it. Like, hey, we're letting a few people in. Don't make it seem like they're the first to the show, and I imagine having like a who's who there really helps too. I'm sure those are draws in themselves. Um, Now you've got to be a great networker to make this happen on the regular basis. Um, how do you do it? Do you make calls? Do you like work with agents, or how does that done typically?
Yeah, so it was basically, off Sunset, it was me and, 4 other partners, and so one of the guys, that I was partners with, I knew him from working at Universal Music Group, and
Okay.
then the other guy, I was partners with, I knew him from when we were working at One Oak, together, so we we had been in entertainment for years, and knew a number of celebrities or artists or label people or managers or any of that. So it's more like when especially in the West Hollywood nightlife or LA, when you're opening a new spot, people will go check it out. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's kind
Yeah.
of like we're just sitting at a table like at lunch and we're just figuring out who all of us are going to text, right? And so it's like if I bring three or four celebs and they bring three or four celebs and the other one brings, you know what I mean? All of a sudden you have like
Yeah.
15, 20 celebs that are going to be there one night and then all of a sudden it's like this crazy thing. So that's kind
Okay.
of how it's done. There's not some crazy curtain or anything like that.
Okay. No, no, that's
Yeah.
really helpful. And, like you say, the kind of
I'm
there's some
not in the
network effect.
Illuminati or anything like that, I promise. It's not like, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Not that you tell us if you were actually in the Illuminati,
Yeah,
but
yeah, not that I would disclose that either, but you have to take it for what it is.
that's great. Well, I think that's helpful. We as business owners occasionally have our brushes with influencers or famous people, and it's kind of helpful to keep that in mind because they have a real currency that is valuable for promotion. And now you've worked in the music industry too, and you've help promote new artists. Now, in terms of the new artists, how what could we learn, or what are like the principles of promoting a new artist that's like unknown? What do you like to what information do you like to get out there? What channels are the most effective to promote these new artists? And then I'm just interested in like how we could maybe apply this to like promoting a new business or a new product.
Yeah. You are you just saying in general like how like what it takes to kind of blow up a new artist or like
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, so I mean there's so many factors that go into it. For one maybe like look at their situation. So do they have a good management team? Are they already signed? Do they have like a big budget available? Do they already have money going into it? Do they produce their own music? Because if they produce their own music, then they don't have to buy beats or instrumentals from other people. So there's like a lot of cost thing because at the end of the day, I don't know if people talk about it enough, but like essentially, if you're a new bit like a new artist, you're a startup and you're a business, and it's gonna take money to keep growing it, right? So you're gonna have to pay for photo shoots. You're gonna have to pay for a feature if you want an artist to feature on one of your songs. If you don't produce, you're gonna have to pay like a really good producer to make some beats for you. You're gonna have to pay for probably to travel to go to shows unless like you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, and these are all things that I had to do myself when I was doing my own events, and I was funding all my stuff by teaching tennis lessons, right? So
Mm.
this is all stuff I always tell artists this. This is all stuff that I did myself. So I'm not telling you guys to do anything that I wouldn't do. Um, but aside from that, like in the beginning, you just got to do a bunch of cold outreach, right? So
Mm.
my mentality is like I'll hit up like 50 or 100 people and then usually like out of that like one good like little Easter egg comes out of it, and then you use that to leverage it to then get another play and another play and another play. So that's kind of like how I approach um management or development or A&R, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I love that response because you know for those of us who haven't worked in the LA area or in entertainment, there's some assumptions, that like they just have the it factor. They just blew up because they were talented or beautiful or, and I mean, I love to hear that the same principles apply. Like you've got to like put, put miles on your shoes. You got to make the cold calls and you got to put in the work. You got to find funding. You've got to do all the same things in entertainment that you have to do in other industries. So I love it, Connor. Thank you for that insight.
Yeah.
Have you, I'd love to ask actually any specifics. You don't have to name an artist, but have you had any interactions with artists that are particularly hardworking or those that are like really avoidant of putting in the work? Any come to mind?
Well, I can give you an example on like how I ended up getting the Grammy plaque for the Dua Lipa record.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, like, I was working at Universal Music Group as a A&R, and I actually was trying to sign this other artist, and I went to some party to meet them, and this producer, I ended up just talking to this producer, had no intentions of working with them, and he was like, "Hey, do you or would you be down to manage me?" And I didn't even know that I could manage. I didn't know
Mm,
anything about it. And then I also was like so new that I didn't understand like the producers in the music business are super important, right? Because they're the one
mm,
that make the beats or the instrumentals. And so I always thought the artist was super important. And the artist is very important, but what the song sounds like is like, you know what I mean? So like a lot of times people don't realize the producers have a lot of juice. You know what I mean? Because
mm.
they could
Yeah.
essentially give those beats to anyone. So anyways, I um I started managing this producer, his name's Skylar, and he he had been producing, if I look back at his stuff now, he had been producing he had a similar story to me. He probably was doing it for like 10 years or whatever, but had like some things here and there, but he wasn't like a big name or anything like that. And we just started going to like every publishing company in LA and every management company and meeting with artists and songwriters and I don't even know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I was just kind of like just trying to get him out there as much as possible. And then out of nowhere, my boss at the time at the record label was like, "Hey, like I'm managing a producer. He's working on Dua Lipa's album. Do you like know any producers or songs that you think might be a good fit?" And I just sent him some of Skylar's stuff, and it ended up getting selected to be like her lead single is Future Nostalgia on her album Future Nostalgia. And still, I didn't really, like, think anything of it too much at the time, and then, like, I remember just watching the Grammys or whatever. It was during COVID that year, so it was only on the computer, and then it ended up winning a Grammy, and then it still didn't really register. I'm like, "Wait, that's crazy." Like, I think me and Skylar just qualified for, like, the Gram you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, and so that's kinda, like, how that whole thing happened. It ended up being, like, the biggest credit that I've probably had so far, you know? So, it's like I guess I could say it was lucky, but it also was like a year or 2 of me and him just traveling around meeting with a bunch of people and pitching things
Mm.
out, and, so that's kinda at least my life or entertainment in a nutshell.
That, no, that is a great anecdote, and I I mean it's interesting to hear that people in entertainment are not only more talented than the rest of us, but they are also super hardworking, and those that are successful. I find that kind of inspiring. That they have to put in the same effort that any other business would. Now you've also started working in politics as well. Talk a little bit about that. I can totally see the common thread between all these roles. Like it's a lot of meeting people and connecting. Um, how is marketing to voters different or the same as working in entertainment?
Yeah, so, for one, I had the same approach to the political stuff, that I did with, like, music or nightlife. Like, I didn't know anyone in it, So, like, I just was, like, DMing a bunch of electeds and groups and orgs, and I kind of was just working with whoever, was kinda responding to me. So that was kind of, for one, like, how I got in. And then 2, I mean, my strong suit is that I do events for a lot of these, like, Democratic orgs, and so I know how to secure these venues. I also DJ, so I'm able to cut them costs on that. Like I know the people from Getty to take the photos because I did all the stuff with them when I was doing all the clubs. So there's like I'm able to add my world to their world and like help at least add like a piece. Obviously doing events and parties and stuff for political groups isn't gonna save the whole world or something, but that's kind of like how I'm able to add value. So that's kind of how I got involved and what I do with them, at least now for the time being.
That's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Well, Connor, I feel like you're going to be successful in whatever you do. I guess it's probably just a matter of you deciding, what you want to spend the rest of your career on. And maybe it'll be a series of pivots, and you'll just be super successful at a lot of things.
Yeah.
So let me ask though, if you had to boil down the lessons you've worked in different industries, had success, taking similar efforts. But if you had to boil down, what are these marketing and PR and entrepreneurial truths? What do you think would be the key lessons you'd share with an audience of entrepreneurs?
I think for one, you need to kind of have like an open mind and be ready to like pivot, because my career started off one way and then I kind of just went with whatever opportunities I had. So when I started, I was mainly doing like 300 to like 1,000 capacity like rooms where I was like booking an artist, selling tickets, yada yada yada, and then it morphed into me becoming kind of like this promoter that worked at all these high-end nightclubs and knew all these like celebrities. And then from there, I got hired by a record label and I'm working as like an A&R and a music man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this was going to happen in the beginning. I kind of was just like, okay, cool. Like this sounds like the right next step. So I think um when you're starting off, like you kind of just need to have an open mind, and also like you really need to love it, because a lot of the stuff that has happened with me, it was like an element of luck, but I also was like I thought about it every day, and I was always trying to think of like how I could get better and how I could improve. And so um I kind of made my own luck in one way, or I maybe like put myself in a position to receive the luck and like run with it. So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's totally applicable. Well, Connor, you have a super interesting background. Definitely a candidate for world's most interesting man. One of the more
Huh. Let's
entertaining guests
go.
I've had. And I'm sure you have a million stories with the people you've made contact with. Connor, if people would like to find you, work with you, maybe have you as a guest on a future podcast, or just network with you, where are the best places to reach you?
So we have connortracy.com. You could hit me up on LinkedIn, Connor Tracy. I think Instagram and x.com are both at the Connor Tracy. TikTok also the Connor Tracy. We're on it all. We're doing it all.
All right.
YouTube Connor Tracy. So whatever, but I guess like the website probably, and then you could email me.
Perfect. Well, I'll include all these links in the show notes, and yeah, really, really glad we connected. I think just even you reaching out to be a guest, I think is an example of your hustle, and I know big things are in your future. So thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate it, Reed. Let's go.
Want to stay ahead of what's actually working in marketing right now? Head over to marketsurge.io and see how we're helping businesses grow smarter, faster, and louder. That's marketsurge.io, because your next breakthrough shouldn't be a guess.